Okay, so should
Okay,
we
I'll
proceed?
assume there aren't any issues and everyone can hear us clearly. I welcome you all to the second day of the 6 days webinar series. And I'm Anika Aslam, and I'll be one of the hosts today. Nasir, over to you.
This is Muhammad Nasir, Director Standing Committee on Voluntary Work, Pakistan Association of Dental Students. So our today's topic is posing a research question. A research question is a question that a research project sets out to answer. Choosing a research question is an essential element of both qualitative as well as quantitative research. Investigation will require data collection and analysis, and the methodology for this will vary widely. Good research questions seek to improve knowledge on an important topic and are usually narrow and specific. In this session, our respected speaker will be talking about how to formulate a good research question. Over to you, Anita.
Yes, the speaker we have for today is Dr. Salman Aziz. He was appointed as an assistant professor and head of Department of Dental Materials at the Institute of Dentistry, CMH Lahore Medical College, and was promoted to the post of associate professor in October of 2018. He is also the member of Pakistan UK Research Collaboration. He has done numerous research projects and is a fellow of Marie Curie Research Association. Sir, after deciding on the time for a few times, we finally are here, and I'm so glad to have you here. Over to you,
And
sir.
it's always a
Thank you
pleasure
so
to
much
be
for.
here. आप लोग को मेरी आवाज ठीक आ रही है?
Very good, sir.
मैंने वीडियो इसीलिए थोड़ा सा बंद किया कि शायद आवाज में कोई रुकावट ना आए, तो आई थिंक इट्स फाइन, या जैसे आप लोग कहो.
Sir, if you can open the video तो interactive ज़्यादा हो जाएगा. We can check अगर
चलें,
video audio खराब हुई तो बंद.
perfect. ठीक है भाई, shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Good. So I'll just share my screen before we head on to today's session. Okay. So yeah, I hope कि आप everybody can see what's on my screen.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Correct. So, ठीक है. Let me just minimize this. Okay. अच्छा जी, first of all, सबसे पहले तो I would like to appreciate what you people are doing as part of this association. I mean, it's not very easy to organize such an organization, and then the difficult part comes into play where you have to maintain all these things which you are actually doing very well. Initially, when all this started, I was, there were few question marks in my mind that what will happen tomorrow when everything is in position, and who will lead this, and how you people would be able to maintain your integrity, your statue and everything. But I'm seriously impressed by the way you people are doing it. You people look actually professional in doing this. I'm sure ये आप लोगों का पहला experience है as an organization, but you people don't show up that this is your first time. It's absolutely professional. Your communication, your engagement with different students, different colleges is remarkable. It's really commendable.
Thank you so
Secondly,
much, sir. It's all because of you as well. You have been there with us from day one. It means
नहीं
a
नहीं,
lot.
मैं तो कोर्स आप लोगों ने किया जो कुछ किया, मैं तो गायब हो गया था बीच में, बट इट्स एक्चुअली योर हार्ड वर्क व्हिच इज पेइंग ऑफ नाउ. अच्छा, अब इसमें जो अच्छी चीज़ है, बिफोर आई स्टार्ट, the connection of you people with the students of other institutions within Pakistan and of course internationally, that is amazing. Because हमारे टाइम पे जब हम लोग आप लोगों की स्टेज पे थे, तो हमें तो अपने कॉलेज के पूरे लोगों का नहीं पता होता था कि कौन कौन है डिफरेंट ईयर्स में. तो लेकिन आप लोगों का जो ये connection है, it's a very strong bond, and I hope that in future you people carry this momentum and have a really wonderful society which can help the students which are coming from as your juniors. अच्छा, इसमें जिस तरह आप लोगों को एक दूसरों के नाम भी पता है, that is really cool. I mean, this really fascinates me. If different institutions and you people know each other by names, it's all happening because of two things. One is your hard work in organizing all this, and number two, it's internet. You know, हमारे time पे internet नहीं था, तो we were lacking all these things. So I hope कि आप लोग आगे भी ऐसे इसको लेके चलो. अच्छा, research question, posing a research question. Let's talk about this. There are different elements, I believe, which are connected in this whole process of research. It's not just a research question. There is a research proposal, there is literature survey, there is literature review, there is sampling techniques, there is a lot about the different techniques and labs that we do. And all these things, they accumulatively, you know, give you one product, which we call it as a thesis or a publication, which is the end result of it. All of these things are connected. अब जो चीज़ मुझे fascinate करती है आज की state में, number one, it's internet, because when you know, I went to masters, internet का lack था बहुत यहाँ पे. When I went there, ये सारी terminologies, research question, proposal, literature survey, review, all these things, मैंने पहली दफा वहां जाके सुनी ये है क्या. तो you know, you people are having a very good, you know, jump start to all this in your undergrad. So I'm sure whenever you reach, you know, 10 years down the line, you will be tenfolds, you know, multiplied by where I am at this moment. So it's amazing. And the interest level which I see in undergrads now, that is something to be appreciated. No matter what the reason is, why somebody wants to do research, that is secondary at this point. Developing a culture, इसलिए कल को remember one thing, जब भी research की बात होगी, आप लोगों का नाम जरूर आएगा. This is what I feel, because this culture is developing by you people. It's not just the members of or the you know, the office holders of P.A.D.S. It's not just about these office holders. It's all about you undergrads. Your input in this research system today will, you know, be highlighted tomorrow with your names. This is what I feel. Acha. सबसे पहले, let's start. What is a research question? How do we put it up? Any idea? Any one of you can guess what is something that leads to a research question? If anyone can answer just one word, if not, then I'll just move on. What is that something that actually has to be there whenever you want to have a research question, research proposal? Any idea
Problems
what
in the
that could
society.
be? Problems in the society, limitations to any work. Above all, before we start to, you know, look at the problems, there is one thing which I would want to show you.
Thirst for knowledge.
Thirst for knowledge, exactly. I'm just wondering why this.
It's a research problem.
Right. Do you see this slide on your screens?
Yes, sir, we can see that.
So this slide sums it all up, because Albert Einstein, I would be surprised if somebody would say today that they don't know about this person. He once said, "I have no special talents. I'm only passionately curious." So curiosity is something which will lead to your research questions, research proposals. Curiosity नहीं है अगर हमें आज, तो there are many things which are just going down the drain. Research, देखो इसके multiple factors हैं. Number one, हमारे मुल्क में कोई ऐसा research culture developed नहीं है, infrastructure नहीं है. this is one of the reasons we are lacking so much at this point. अगर ये सारी चीजें facilities हो तो obviously we'll start thinking in a different way, but it's never too late. If we have started today, it doesn't matter, we have to be curious. So always remember to develop this element of curiosity in yourself. आज क्या होता है, हमें रिसर्च पेपर्स चाहिए, हमें रिसर्च पेपर्स क्यों चाहिए, हमें रिसर्च पेपर्स इसलिए चाहिए कि हमने प्रमोशंस लेनी है. फॉर एग्जांपल, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द फैकल्टी मेंबर्स, माई सेल्फ, एवरीबडी. वी नीड नंबर ऑफ पेपर्स टू गेट प्रमोटेड. तो उसमें if we are curiously doing it, if we are passionately doing this research process, it's excellent. But problem kahan pe aati hai? When we people start, multiplying our papers or articles without doing anything. वो मेरा दोस्त है, मैं उसका दोस्त हूँ, we start doing things together just to increase the number of papers. But the element of curiosity dies in this process. Very simple example है, मैं PhD करने गया, first day in the school, my supervisor, his first question to me was, why are you here? What brought you here? So I was literally blank. I could not tell him why I was there. So he said, develop the element of curiosity in yourself. Try to look at things in a different way. Just log dekh rahe hain, try to identify different angles. Speak to your colleagues. He gave me a week. He said, come back to me after 10 days. In these 10 days, all you need to do is speak to your colleagues, what they're doing. Ask them questions, why they are doing that. So this is something we need to engage in ourselves, that we must have this element of curiosity. So, मुझे कुछ इस पे प्रॉब्लम कोई बैकएंड से चेक कर सकता है? मेरी स्लाइड्स मूव नहीं कर रही, पता नहीं आप लोगों को स्लाइड चेंज हो रही है नहीं हो रही है, आई डोंट नो.
We can see still the Albert Einstein quote.
Exactly, it's, let me just screen share. Okay, let's do it this way then. अच्छा, जिक्सॉ पजल्स हम सब ने देखे हैं, ठीक है? And it is a fact that without having all these pieces together, things do not, work well. It's incomplete. If I say, I think there's something wrong. Yeah, probably now. Just a second. Right, let's, sorry about all this. This is beyond my control actually. Why is it happening? Let's try one more time.
Would you like us to screen share if there's any?
Let me try one more time. Okay, I hope this works now. चलें जी. अच्छा, literature search और literature का जो पूरा process है, it's a combination of these different elements, and it's incomplete if we are missing any of these steps. We have a research question, we also have a research proposal. This is not everything about research, so I've just highlighted the basic ones. We do the literature search, we have this process of literature review as well. So all these four, 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're all interconnected. So if I say, okay, the research question is the first step, research proposal is the second step, I would be wrong, because they're all so well connected, and it's a two-way traffic. You start with this one, you go on to this one, you go on to this one, then you again have to go back to your research question at times, because maybe at times you find something different in the literature review that you have to go back and review your question again. Then you go back to your proposal again and see everything is in line. You search again. So all these things, they move in any directions they like. So there is no hard and fast rule that you have to do this first, you have to do this first. There are points where you have to come back to the point one again. And then this is how this whole system works. Right. So the research question, it's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing process in which you start adding up things into whatever your concept is. You start with the little question mark. That question mark, becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually you come to a product which you were eventually looking for. So it is a process that takes time. It is not something that you would start on a weekend and finish over the weekend. It is something which you will have to spend time on. You need to have two elements which are very important in this whole process. One is curiosity, and the second one is patience. So curiosity and patience, these two things go side by side in this whole cycle of research. So always remember this thing. This is how all this, starts. This is just a process which, quickly explains how things are in research. You first of all connect with other people. So that's the first thing that you do. You meet your colleagues. एक थोड़ा सा डर हमें ये भी होता है कि maybe our ideas they get robbed by someone or someone steals them. So ये सिर्फ हमारे यहाँ नहीं, ये पूरी दुनिया में इसका डर हो. लेकिन I still believe you must talk to your colleagues about research proposals or any ideas that you come across. This is very important. Sharing your knowledge with someone else will always increase your knowledge. It will never decrease your knowledge. It will always give you more angles to look at things. So always connect with people, talk to them. Then the second part, we go on to research. We try and find different things in the literature. We try to design our work, which is the third point here. Then we present it to, some supervisors or some other colleagues that this is something which we've come across. Maybe there are some limitations in your work. So what we would be doing next is to revise it. And finally, once the product is ready, we deliver it. So this is just a basic processing of how this system works. Unless and until you do not brainstorm with different people, you would definitely lack ideas. So ideas come when brains come together. So be honest, be ethical, discuss your ideas with people, and then move forward, because this would help you and others around you as well. Asaji, why create a research question? This is something we want to know, that why do we want to have a research question? The first thing that comes to me is curiosity. It is the desire to learn or know about anything. So curiosity has to be there. It's the desire. It's something that you want to know about something else, which has not already been known to people, whether it's scientific, whether it's something in arts or economics or anything. So it's that desire that must be there before you generate or try to generate a research question. Then the second part comes your research. Once you have this desire, then it's a systematic inquiry or investigation onto that specific subject area where you think revision has to be done, or where you think there is a gap that can be addressed. Because if there is something already existing and it's functioning properly, there is no point repeating that same element, and nobody would buy that, because anything new would be sold. So anything that you already have will never be sold easily. So you need to investigate, you need to invest time in finding out what is that gap. And that is, so if I say curiosity and research are directly proportional to each other, exactly right. This is how it works. Curiosity is the source of our questions. We ask because we want to know. It is something that it's a desire which, drives us to know different things. We work on things, we come across different question marks, different obstacles, limitations, and that is what makes us think about these questions: how, when, what, where, somewhat, and all these things. Then research is a process through which you can answer these questions. Obviously, if you have these questions coming to your mind about a specific topic, there should be something which can answer all this. So it's research which answer your questions. In academic work, we formulate clear questions to guide us in our search for answers. So clear questions is important. Vague questions, broad terminologies, they are, open-ended questions more often. So you need to have precise and clear questions, because whenever you write a thesis or a synopsis, there is a section called aims and objectives. So that aims and objectives is related to your research question. That this is my research question and my aim is to find out this. My objective is to reach this point through this process of this whole research proposal. So it has to be clear. If it's not clear, then you yourself will not be in a position to, define your landmarks. So this is a very basic step that you have to start from with all your strengths. If you don't do that, obviously you land up in difficulties after a long time when you've done all the hard work and then somebody tells you that this is incorrect, and you have to go back to the step one and strengthen your research question or proposal. So you have to, link these two elements very nicely together. A research question, if we all know by now that it is something that we want to know about our disciplines, about a specific area within a discipline. So it is something that you are working in, for example,
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Wrong number, I guess. Asa, something that you want to know about any specific field. For example, we are generally in healthcare, and for example, we are in dentistry. So dentistry would be your discipline. That within dentistry, you'll have to specify one subject area. Dentistry is a vague, discipline. There are so many specialties, subspecialties, and within those specialties, there are certain specific elements on which we have to work on. So you need to narrow down and pinpoint exactly that this is what I want to know. And for that, we'll talk about in a minute how you reach that point. It's not a topic, fragment, phrase, or a sentence. It's generally a question which ends with a query. So there has to be a question mark. There has to be an element of curiosity in your research question, that this is what specifically I'm looking for in my discipline, staying within my discipline. Then the third thing is it has to be clear and precisely stated. You will hear these terms a lot many times, but the only thing or the only time you'll be able to do this would be when you start doing it on your own. This will not happen on your first attempt. This will take multiple attempts to reach there. If I say that today I'm perfect in defining a research question, I am absolutely wrong, because the more I do it, the more I learn. The more you do it, the eventually you will try to understand what clarity and precision is, what literature or scientific world is looking from you, is expecting from you. So this is how you need to start, and you need to start today. You cannot delay it. So we would want to have, clear questions. We would avoid any open-ended questions, because open-ended questions, obviously, there are so many elements associated with it. So we need to have a defined question, which is, open-ended at times can be helpful when you're looking for multiple elements. So you can always choose them, but you have to have questions which are clear, which are properly defining what your research interest and area is, and make sure that nothing has been done on that specific topic that you are looking for. So we've got different strategies that we can apply to our this research question process. First of all, let's talk about this personal knowledge and the research question. So that can be your strategy number one to start off today if you want. First of all, it's all about your personal understanding of that specific area where you want to work on. Okay. For example, let me give you an example. In dentistry, I want to work on glass ionomer cement, for example. It's an intermediate restoration. It does not last for more than a year or so, but it has other properties which are very beneficial. It has got these biological properties of fluoride release and all these things. So can I do something in glass ionomer promotion so that this can be used as a permanent restoration and I still get the benefit of having fluoride release over time, and this stays as a permanent restoration? So maybe let me incorporate some fibers in it. For example, let's add and try and see by adding silk fibers in it. So now this is my personal knowledge. Then I would have to explore this personal knowledge into the literature and see, is there any group of scientists already doing this? For example, if you find someone already doing this, you read those papers and see what they've come up with. Maybe the limitations in that paper which they have mentioned, they lead you to a new research question. So this is how this process would lead you. So first of all, in this phase, when you have your personal knowledge and the research question, you list your interests, and then, in a specific discipline of healthcare or whatever you are trying to work on. So you list your interests. So these are my topics or areas of interests. This is where I need to work or I want to work. Then the second step would be choose one topic of your interest out of that list. So just start writing them. It's just free write that you'll be doing in this phase, in this strategy. So make a list of disciplines that you like. Choose one which you like the best. That would be your top priority. Then jot down or write everything you know about that specific topic. It's just your personal knowledge. Write down everything. Then try to find answer for these question marks. Who, what, when, where, why, how, so what if. So these are very important 8 starting questions. These are what you need to know. So try to, incorporate these 8 question marks into your free write and see where do you end. Then the last 4, the why, how, so what if, these are generally the areas which are, difficult to answer. These questions would be difficult to answer, but these would definitely or most of the times lead you towards the gaps that you're looking for. Okay? So we need to identify those gaps. Once you have identified, then you can go back to your step 2 and 3, which is choose down a short list, the final topic, and then write again all these steps after reviewing the literature. This is how, or this is one strategy which can lead you towards a reasonable research question that you are after. There's another strategy as well. This is secondary sources and the research question. So secondary sources, if you're not aware of what secondary sources are books, articles, thesis of other people, all this published work that is available on different databases. You've got to read them. Now, when I say read them, saying is very easy, but reading them is not at all easy. So all you need to do is develop this habit of reading articles. If you have not yet started to do this, I would advise you to start reading an article of your interest and read that one article in 2 weeks to start with. Because to start reading an article is not easy, because you need to get yourself familiarized with the scientific terminologies, different processes. You get used to it, and by the time you've read about 10, 12 papers, then you start feeling comfortable, and it takes you less time to read those. So start reading secondary sources if the first one doesn't work for you. So then after reading, go to the library and also search online academic and professional sites related to your discipline or topic. You can use different web sources. You can use your library sources to read books, to get articles. So these are the sources you can get them from. And once you have got enough or sufficient information about your topics, then I would want you to go back to the strategy one and start the free write again. So this is a strategy number two. If you do not have ample knowledge about a specific topic, so you start with this one, you start reading papers, you read through all that, and then go back to the strategy one and repeat those steps. Then we also have another third strategy, which is based on different modes of thoughts. So we also call them rhetorical modes. So they're used to organize your ideas, whether it's writing or speaking. So what these modes could be, comparison and contrast, processes, different mechanisms, classifications or divisions, cause and effect, problems and solutions. So all these things, you try to adopt these modes into yourself. It's not just about reading something and giving a review out of it. It's about critically thinking and comparing what different processes could be, what problems are, what solutions are. So all these things, so these are different mode strategies which you can adopt to, finalize your final products. Once you have got these modes inside yourself, then go back to those initial questions: why, how, so what, and what if, for each of these modes, and see and try to answer them. This is another very interesting way where you develop yourself as well as your question, because you need to have that critical brainstorming process. And that process comes in yourself when you try to adopt these thoughts in your system, and then try to answer those questions. And I'm sure this helps a lot and gives you a lot of new ideas where you can work on. We also have focusing and supporting research questions. Just to have a difference between these two, what are they? So the focusing question would be the most important question you discovered from the previous three activities or strategies: your personal knowledge, by reading the books, and by having those different thought processes. So that is the most important question, or the research question can be your focusing question, which you are targeting. That has to be your prime concentrated area where every focus should be at all times. Then you have supporting questions. जैसे हमारे पास movies में supporting actors होते हैं जो main characters को support करते हैं, exactly वैसे ही supporting questions होते हैं जो focusing और main question को support कर रहे होते हैं. So questions that will help you explore the relationships around the focusing question in depth. So you always need to have these supporting questions installed because they will always increase the depth of your knowledge and they will reinforce the main or the focusing question that you're looking at. अच्छा इसमें एक example, for example, अगर I have a focusing question, how can a country's policies increase its economic impact on the traders community? So in this case, this word increase is of importance. That is something we are looking for. How can a policy of a country increase its economic impact on the traders community? For example, this is my focusing question. So I would have certain supporting questions as well, which will definitely increase the depth of my knowledge onto that specific question. So that could be, how does the policies currently impact the traders community? So I would want to explore what the current situation is and how we can increase this existing position. So we are trying to elevate something from a standard. There could be another question, what could be done that isn't being done and why? So this what and why is of importance. Is there anything that comes to your mind which can increase that, economic impact? And why? If there is nothing being done so far, then the second question comes to me, why there hasn't been anything done so far? So maybe there are certain limitations. That could be one reason that this was not possible. So I need to explore these supporting questions. We give equal importance to both. Rather than simply focusing on our question, we need to support it. More supports our question will have, the more validity, novelty, and strength that question will bear. So remember, as you grow, when you are into this process of research and all this, try to remember these 3-4 things. I'll just show you what these are. Number one, you need to be clear about your audience. Who would be reading your papers? Who would be, getting benefit out of your research? Who are those people? What are their demands? So you need to be sure about the audience you're targeting. So always keep this thing in mind. So the answer to your research question will be a complete statement expressed as a sentence. So that sentence would be your thesis. Your thesis would, or your article would be something that would give answers to your research questions. Because if your thesis or if your article fails to give answer to your initial research question, there's no point doing this. There has to be a justification, and everything should be organized. There should be, I'm sure you in the future webinars, you'll be learning about how to write a paper as well. So there they will, tell you how to organize your paragraphs, what should be the sequence, what things should be avoided. And most importantly, never get, discouraged or worried about anything that happens in research. This is very important because ये एक ऐसा process है कि जिसमें you do not know what the outcome would be. there is a word we call null hypothesis. There's a word we call hypothesis. So hypothesis is what we believe would happen after this research about our results. Null hypothesis is, we would not be reaching that point. So anything can happen. So never get discouraged or worried about the results because it's a constant changing process. Research is a constantly changing process. It changes with time. For example, if any one of you starts doing a PhD today, it ends after 4 or 5 years. So obviously in these 4 or 5 years, there would be certain things that would have changed in the literature. Maybe during your course of PhD or any degree that you're doing, things change and you have to change your research question right in the middle. So never be discouraged. Always, stay positive and start to follow the right paths. Right. A research proposal, if I tell you what is a research proposal, it's an idea that you generate. Uh, it's after having a research question, you develop a research proposal that I'll be executing all this process in this pattern. This is my main question. This is what I'll be doing. This is how I will be doing. This is what I would want to achieve, or this is what my hypothesis is. So this is all a process of having a complete summary, how much cost would be involved. It could be science, it could be academia, and how this would impact the society, how strong is my research. So this is a plan that you develop after going through all the literature, after developing a certain question, that this is how I would want to execute my process. Then your proposals, they go into review and then they get accepted or come back to you with certain obligations, and you have to redo it or do all those amendments, and this is how it works. There's a question which comes to me then: can we write a research proposal straight away? I would say no. Why not? Because you must have a strategy first, and the very first step is to formulate a research question. You cannot just write a proposal straight away. There's a lot of hard work that you need to do before presenting your proposals. And the most important first step of having this proposal is to generate an authentic research question. You have to formulate this question. It's a question is a statement that identifies the phenomena to be studied. For example, can smart materials revolutionize healthcare? At this point, for me, this question is vague. It is not specifying any discipline. It is just smart materials revolutionizing the healthcare system. So I need to be specific. If I try to be specific, okay, from healthcare, I pick up dentistry. From dentistry, my interest is in periodontology, for example. So I would try to come up with a more specific research question. Let's talk about, this is strategy one, which is, it's just my personal knowledge, which I'm trying to incorporate here. Polymer-based smart materials for the regeneration of periodontium, right? This is all my personal knowledge, right? I like this question. I like this area. I need to find more. I need to write more about this, whatever I know about it. Strategy one. There will be a point where I'll have to, come to strategy two and see what is happening in the literature. I would go back and see what is in the literature. Then eventually I'll have to come up with a very valid and a clear research question, which is well justified, which is original, which is novel, which is significant. So that is important. I do not want to do something which has already been done. Is it feasible? Is it focused on whatever I want to do? if I find, and it has to be within my discipline. So if I get all these answers from the literature regarding my question, obviously I'll have to remodel my question during all that process of literature review. Uh, when I when I'm able to answer all these questions, that is what my research question would look like. And further fine tuning will definitely, take place as we move along in our research proposals and all these things. Saji, literature review and research question, I'm sure you guys are now able to understand how critically interlinked these two elements are with one another. Without reviewing the literature, it is not possible to generate a valid, novel, feasible, significant, focused, justified question. Because we need to see what is happening and where are the gaps. We need to hit those gaps. Original research question directly relates with the literature review. You need to find what is happening in the literature and what has not been done. That something which hasn't been done would be, your research question. So you need to find out what has been done and what new can you contribute. What is that something that you can contribute? Very quickly, there are three types of literatures. We've got primary, secondary, and tertiary. So the primary is the original publications that come to you, case reports, clinical trials, original basic research, etc. Secondary is the review articles, the meta-analysis. So these are the sources which are derived from the primary sources. And the third one is your tertiary sources, which is a combination of primary and secondary, in which you have your textbooks and all these things. Where do I look for papers or relevant literature? I'm sure there is another webinar coming on this for literature search. So you first of all start with your university's library catalog. If that is not adequate, you go to the databases that are available. We've got Google Scholar, PubMed, Scopus, Science Direct, all these things, Web of Science. So you try to explore all of them. You cannot just stick to one of these and complete your process in one database, because there would be many papers which are not in, for example, PubMed, and they are available in Science Direct. So you cannot miss the literature which is relevant to you. Right, so there are two pathways we generally follow. First of all, if you think you have a research question, from the primary, from the first strategy, if you think you have a research question from your personal knowledge, the second step for you would be to go and review that literature in that specific discipline. That would be your second step. If you do not have a research question, all you need to do is narrow down your research topic. Narrow it down, shortlist, pick up the specific, use a microscope to get to the bottom of the discipline you're trying to work on. So once after narrowing it down, you go back to the literature review. And then once you have that literature review, you have to answer these questions. From consultation with the literature review regarding your question, you have to answer these questions. Is your research question novel? Is it unique? Is it different? Is it something which has not been done before? Is it significant? Is it original? Is it practical? Is it feasible? Is it staying within your subject area? So all these questions, how, what, when, so what if, all these have to be answered. Once you do that, you get your question. So that is a process that you go along. So if you do not have a research question, let's take it this way. Start developing this element of curiosity. It's not about science, it's your daily life, your daily routines, whatever you do every day. start, spending time in curiosity. Think differently. This is the, essence of finding a research question. So if you do not have a research question, so narrow it down, as we just spoke it a couple of slides before. So try to answer how, what, when, all those questions once you have narrowed your area of interest. Try to answer these questions. Has this been done before? If it has been addressed, could you extend it further in a significant way? अच्छा देखो इसमें दो चीजें हैं. If you come up with a question and you see that this question has already been answered, so there are two approaches you can take. One, you leave that and take another route, go somewhere else, try to explore another area. Number two, try to be more curious about that existing literature and see if you can find any gap in that literature and carry that research a step further. But moving a step further, you need to make sure that it has to be of significance. It has to be of importance. So this is how you move with if you do not have a research question. So patience is another key with curiosity. You need to be patient. You need to read as much as you can on the topic. This is not easy. I'm telling you again and again. Reading is not easy, but once you develop this habit of reading articles, you are through research. There's nothing stopping you then. It's just about reading. Read recent publications first. See what latest has been done in your area. Get all the relevant papers, try to read them. Once you have narrowed down your topic, try to read the most recent and the most relevant papers, plus the most influential papers, because there are landmark studies in our areas. So whether it's 50 years old, but it's a landmark identification of any process. So you need to add or reference that landmark study. So the more you read, easier it will become for you to generate a research question. So it's all about spending or investing some time in it. So initially you will find that it takes a lot of time, but eventually you will come up with, your speed will increase, your reading habits will improve, and your understanding and, your comfort level with all these scientific languages and methodologies will improve. So you will start to, start liking it. And then things would, become very easy for you. So ideas on the research topic often comes from this exercise. For example, author X has not included factor Y in his study. So maybe I could look into factor Y. So factor Y is the gap that you have identified in an existing literature. So you need to explore. You can only find a gap once you are curious. If you're not curious, it will be very hard for you to pick up gaps because you need to think in a different way. I always say this brain that we have, this is a generator, it's a powerhouse. You can do wonders with it. It is something आप इसको यूज करना चाहें, आप इसको इससे कमाल कर सकते हैं. आप इसको ना यूज करना चाहें फिर भी ठीक है, कुछ भी नहीं करेगा. So it's all about, it's so elastic that you stretch it to its limit and it will never disappoint you. So it's all about using your brain, being curious and patient. So this is the key to start with, and I'm sure this will lead you to many things. So when you think that you have a research question now, then how literature review helps you to, justify that question that you think that you have. So once you think that you have a research question, it's literature review that validates it. So you need to go through that literature review test and find out that whether what I thought is correct or not. Do I need amendments? Yes or no? So this is of extreme importance. It tells you if what you are thinking has already been answered or not, whether it's a potential question that you have or not. It also tells you about a brand new question. If you have a question already, literature review, fine tunes your question and brings you up with a valid brand new question. This has to be done. Then we have you start reading recent publications first and see what latest has been done, and then you move down to the others. So the bottom line is, whether you have or do not have a research question, it is critical that you review the literature in the area first. So it is very important to consult the review process while generating your research questions. Many students, they commit this mistake of doing the literature review as a last step. This could be very dangerous because अगर आप इसको ऐसे सोचो, अगर आप एक डिग्री स्टार्ट करते हो रिसर्च बेस्ड which is of 3 years, और आप ये प्लान करते हो कि I'll do the literature review at the end and get the latest literature at that time, उसमें क्या हो सकता है कि maybe once you reach that point after 3 years and you see or you find out that what you were thinking has already been addressed or discarded by the literature because maybe it wasn't relevant, maybe it wasn't important, maybe it wasn't feasible. So all you have done in those 3 years has of no use. So you must make sure that you consult the literature from the day one and you review it throughout the process, because things change and at times you need to uh, what we call is modify your research process, which is absolutely fine. You can do that. So some common mistakes that we generally do while identifying the question, it's non-originality, it's not original. Then we also have non-feasibility of all these things, resources, time constraints, knowledge, lack of knowledge. So these are some mistakes that we generally perform while finding out our research questions. So then some of the other mistakes that we come across is that your topic is too broad. It's not specific. You're not very much focused. It's too broad. And I gave you an example that smart materials can revolutionize healthcare. It's a broad topic. You need to have it specific. You need to address one specific area. Something which is not very well justified. Your research proposal itself wasn't justified. So these are some mistakes that we have the potential to make. So we must make sure, and I'm sure that no one of you would do that, because if you spend time, if you invest in literature, if you try to be curious, I'm sure nobody would do these mistakes, but you must be aware of what these mistakes could be. Some useful tips we can look at: start searching for a topic as early as possible. As early as possible is today. So start looking for a topic today. Do not delay. It has to be now if you want to do it, because this will take time. This is one of the tips. So narrow down your areas which you already have and try to come up with a specific topic by consulting the literature review. Once you have passed the literature review, so literature review was the test that tells you that it's feasible, it's doable, it's original, it's novel, it's, nothing has been done and this could be added to the literature. This is something new. So once you have passed that test, that is when you come with your research question. So ask yourself all these questions again and again throughout the process. So do I have enough resources to answer this question? Because the question of resources is, very much important in our culture at this point, because we do not have much resources. So we do not have infrastructures, labs, and all these things. So you must be aware of your, sources. What do you have and what can you do? Is it feasible? And staying within your area and staying novel, that is important. Ask yourself these questions frequently. These are some useful tips. And if you answer yes to all these questions, then you finally have your research question, which is available to proceed for further research proposals. In the end, I would just leave you with this uh, picture, which tells you the sequence of narrowing down your research area and coming down to have a research question. I will email this presentation as well in a PDF format to one of the office bearers, and they can always share them with all of you. So you can have a closer look and read what exactly this sequence tells you. It's all what we have done so far. So this is just, a quick review of how to generate these questions and how important narrowing down and consulting the literature review process is. Uh, in the end, I would just like to thank you all for your time and patience, because I know it's not easy to listen to somebody, especially on a topics like research, for an hour or so. For any questions, queries, and assistance in future, whenever you want. Remember one thing: if you ever have a question, do not hesitate to ask, because हम लोग यही सोचते हैं कि ये क्वेश्चन गलत होगा और सब हंसेंगे. जो हंसेगा उसको हंसने दो, उसको हंसने दो, वो हमेशा हंसेगा. Worry about yourself. अगर वो गलत क्वेश्चन आज नहीं पूछ के ठीक करोगे तो कल कुछ ज्यादा लोग हंसेंगे. इसलिए whenever you have a question, ask it. Do not be shy about it. गलत है, सही है, a question is always a question unless you ask it. So always remember that. So I thank you all here. If you can note my email address, and I can be contacted and reached at this point. I think I'll hand it over back to the co-hosts and Anika and I don't remember the name of Nasir, I think.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'll just,
So,
yeah.
sir, we have a couple of questions.
G.
As said by sir, it means that a research question must be both focusing and supporting. Kindly mute your mic, all the participants.
I can answer before you proceed to the questions. Sir, there was an activity in which we asked the students to send research questions, and there weren't much instructions. They can just write a research question, however they think a research question should be. And there were a lot of them, and I have only shortlisted a few and just sent you on WhatsApp. So if you could look at them once and also give a critique that whether or not students did justice to what a research question is. Although, of course, this is before lecture. And
So do you want me to answer all of them now?
sir, it's up to you. You can read them and let us.
अच्छा चलो मैं इसमें से एक की आपको एग्जांपल कोई सी भी हम कर लेते हैं तो बाकी I can
Yes, sir.
always send you back. For example, this first one इसी को ले लेते हैं. What is the effect of COVID-19 on the mental and physical health of medical students? जैसे ये first question है. What is the effect of COVID-19 on the mental and physical health of medical students? अच्छा इसमें इसका जो start है हम इसको what से start शायद मैं नहीं करना चाहूँगा कि what is the effect of COVID-19. हम इसको ऐसे कर देते हैं effects of COVID-19 on mental and physical health of medical students. अच्छा अब इसमें specific करना पड़ेगा कि what medical students are we talking about? which area are you trying to concentrate on? For example, आप कराची में किसी कॉलेज में पढ़ रहे हैं, तो which कॉलेज और वो कौन होंगे लोग, वो कौन होंगे स्टूडेंट्स जिनको आप टारगेट कर रहे हैं? क्या ये आपके अपने कॉलेज के स्टूडेंट्स हैं? नंबर 1, you'll have to specify that. नंबर 2, आपके पूरे सिटी के स्टूडेंट्स हैं, या एक एरिया स्पेसिफिक आपको करना पड़ेगा अपने इस क्वेश्चन में कि दिस इज व्हाट आई विल बी लुकिंग एट, बिकॉज इसमें इस क्वेश्चन में इस टाइम पे तो ये लग रहा है कि ये एक जनरल परसेप्शन है wherever the medical students are. ठीक है, तो वी नीड टू स्पेसिफाई कि हम किन स्टूडेंट्स की बात कर रहे हैं. इसमें कुछ लोग इसको और स्पेसिफिक करने के लिए ये भी कर सकते हैं कि वो उन स्टूडेंट्स को एक्सपोज करें जो हेल्थ केयर या हॉस्पिटल सिस्टम में उस इन कोविड-19 के दौरान काम कर रहे हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल हम हाउस सर्जन्स कह देते हैं कि जो जिनको छुट्टी नहीं हुई और दे हैड टू गो टू हॉस्पिटल्स, उनकी मेंटल और फिजिकल challenges क्या थे, because they were directly exposed to that COVID-19. बाकी सबको क्या हुआ, स्टूडेंट्स को, they all went home, they were not doing anything, घर पे बैठ के ऑनलाइन क्लासेस चल रही थी, तो there was no exposure to COVID-19 itself. They were in a lockdown situation. So I would want to assess or find out the mental or physical health of those healthcare workers which are directly exposed within this COVID-19 situation in hospitals. Maybe this is one way of doing it. ठीक है? Does this make sense?
Yes, sir.
तो इसको फिर हम obviously this is my strategy 1, this is my personal thinking and personal knowledge. Then I will have to go into my strategy 2, taking this question. Right, I want to see healthcare professionals in a hospital setup, especially working in a COVID-19 ward, or looking after or managing patients with COVID-19. कि उनके हेल्थ केयर और मेंटल सिस्टम और फिजिकल सिस्टम में क्या डिफरेंस आया, व्हाट डू दे थिंक अबाउट इट नाउ, व्हाट इज देयर स्टेटस एट दिस पॉइंट. उसको हम एक लॉन्गिट्यूडनल स्टडी भी बना सकते हैं कि स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग, गोइंग थ्रू द पीक एंड कमिंग डाउन आफ्टर द पीक, what are the differences in their mental and physical health when they started off with all this and now when they're getting a bit of relief in the system. So this would eventually go, all this question which I've just talked to you about will go into the literature review process. And first I'll have to find out, is there anybody who has done this? If yes, I'll have to see what they have done and what questionnaire did they use. So I'll have to follow that, and maybe I need to have permission to use that same questionnaire. अगर हम वो same हम पे apply नहीं करता, तो what we can do is we can ask them to give us the permission to modify their questionnaire according to our current situation, and then move further. So this is how we refine all these things. आई थिंक अभी टाइम हमारे पास कम हो रहा है, तो और अगर कोई आप कुछ कहना चाहो.
No, sir. We can take a few questions. You can tell, sir, how much time you have. We only take questions until that. There are questions students have asked in the chat.
अच्छा, इसमें ऐसा पॉसिबल है कि बिकॉज आई एम ऑलरेडी कमिटेड समवेयर एल्स, आई एम रनिंग 10 minutes over time. अगर ये क्वेश्चंस मुझे किसी तरह मिल जाए एंड आई कैन रिस्पॉन्ड बैक, ऐसा पॉसिबल है?
Yes, sir. Entirely.
बस perfect. आप if you can email me all these questions and I'll get back to you in a day or two with all these questions in the email format, and you can forward them to all the
Yes, sir, no.
queries to from where.
We are in contact with everyone on WhatsApp, so it will be very easy.
Chale, perfect. That will be perfect.
Thank you so much for your time today, sir. I'm sure
No
everyone
problem. It's an honor, and it's always, I feel excited to be here with all you students and see how you people are growing fast and in the right direction, to be honest. It's really exciting. And I wish you all luck.
It's really good to hear those kind remarks from you earlier and now again as well, because I think our seniors, if they are appreciating it, then that gives us a go ahead that we are actually in the right direction. Thank you so much for your time as well, sir.
No,
I
no, no, it's
myself
all right.
learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone learned too. They're responding in the chat box as well, and they are all thanking you and
Definitely, I'll be
telling
looking
us they
forward to all
learned
these
a lot.
questions. Okay, I'll beg leave now. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
sir.
sir, for your valuable
See
time.
you.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Guys, we can stay for a picture. And those who are comfortable with opening their video, you can open your videos. And you have like 1 minute for that, please. At 4:13, something will take. Okay, Heather and Nasser, you guys will be able to take picture.
Yes.
There are 5 screens, so you will have to take the screenshot separately and save them separately. Whoever's taking, you can do a countdown and we are ready.
Okay, guys, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Say cheese. Okay, so I'm taking again on the count of 3. 1, 2, and here we go. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for your patience and valuable time. The meeting is now over.
Only the post-evaluation forms are left. Remember to fill them and submit.